everybody? Welcome to an episode of the Random Hour. As always, I'm your co-host, Devin Moore. And Kyle's not here with me today. He's had a family emergency. So, as always, he left me keys to the boat. And I'm going to drive the boat. Hopefully not crash the boat. Let's see what happens. But I do have a special guest with me today, and I'm going to let him introduce themselves real fast. So, fellas, the floor is yours.
Yep. Hey there, my name's Zach Shepper. I'm the lead singer of Park Dissidents, and this is... So we are a queer punk rock band out of New Orleans, Louisiana, and we just put out a new album earlier this month called Magnificent Bastards, and that is among the things that we will be talking about today.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you guys for coming on the show. As always, we're going to dive right in. So my first question I have, obviously, we're a pop culture nerd podcast. What is something you guys nerd about as a band?
Well, I think Zeke, you nerd out a lot, like probably a lot more than me lately. I'll let you take this one first.
Nerding out as a band. So our band is so like unbelievably diverse. As a band, I don't think there's, even though it's like unbelievably diverse, I don't think there's many things that we mutually nerd out on, which is fine. But I know that personally, my most recent nerding out thing has been, well, I say most recent, it's a constant nerding out thing. I'm a car person, right? So, but very specifically German cars. So trying to see how fast and loud and obnoxious I can make my Volkswagen Golf. And yeah, many sleepless nights have been spent on eBay and Amazon trying to find random parts that don't do anything but just make it more obnoxious and loud. And much money has been spent on a fruitless effort in, like, I could probably have bought the next model up car, but you know, we're here now. We're gonna live with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like kind of both of us, we're less like pop culture nerds. Like I absolutely will. I've been doing a deep dive into a lot of like the newer Star Trek lately and stuff. Like I will watch stuff and I will read comics and watch sci-fi and all that shit. Love it. What I really nerd out about is if you want to get me started on some like the dispute between Greece and North Macedonia over whether that country was allowed to call themselves Macedonia or not, or the origins of linguistic origins of the Basque language and how it might be related to Armenian. That's where my brain's going these days. Like just geography, languages. That's when I'm in my downtime. That is my YouTube deep dive. I will look into the lore of, like, I'm just gonna spin a globe and see like what's happening here. What's this country from? And I mean that kind of explains I think why this comic book that I just wrote for this album we put out is very global, has these characters from all over the world. That came right from that part of my brain that will just spend 3 hours at 3 a.m. just deep diving into Wikipedia and learning about countries.
Yeah, no, that is if Kyle was here, he'd be like, Kyle will do the same thing. He'll just like send TikToks at like 3 a.m. and be like, hey, do you know this about the Greek gods? No. Why'd you send it to me at 3 a.m? I've been up since I just been down deep dive doing it. I'm just like, okay, that's cool, man. But no, one thing we nerd out about is like comics. We're both big Marvel fans, DC fans, all that. I'm trying to collect the first 1,000 issues of Amazing Spider-Man. Obviously, from the ones from the 60s, I can't get. So I just get the Marvel master work. So I'm at like anywhere from the original issues 1 through 30 to like the high 900s. So I'm just everywhere.
Yeah, amazing. You would think that as a now aspiring comic writer myself that I would be more of that. I have I have about as much of a I have a pretty standard familiarity with Marvel and DC. I never was much of a comics nerd myself. I kind of got into the idea of comic writing through a lot of my other writer friends, but I have so I'm sort of I approach the medium as almost an outsider to comic fandom and everything, but I still, you know, I think I can bring sort of an unusual perspective to that because I'm not like, I don't really chase a lot of comic tropes when I write stuff.
Okay. Speaking of the album you guys just released, you just released the album Magnificent Bastards. Can you guys tell us what inspired you with that album and things like that, the process of writing that album?
Yeah, so so quick recap of the history of the band. I started Dog Park Dissidents with my friend John Greco up in New York about 7 years ago. This was Zeke joined the band a little more recently, the past 2 years. So Magnificent Bastards, this was an album that we had already written the music, and just as Zeke joined the band, started recording. So I'm gonna speak more to the origins of it. So first album was that we put out was theme was basically like queer punk rock, a lot of very anti-establishment, anarchist politics approach to queer issues. That's what the music was about. Kind of an underlying ethos of like your typical liberal LGBTQ movement is all about like, let's get the rights to get married and have protections from discrimination for queer people and stuff. And our approach was this more radical thing of like, we don't get to be gay if we're dead. So that's sort of what the theme underpinning a lot of that first album was. We also don't really get to be gay if the world burns down. And so that's why like the climate crisis was always in the back of my mind as I was writing. And so just for a number of years, I had been thinking about like if the climate crisis is the defining struggle of our time, of our generation. We're facing down the possibility that like, are we even gonna be able to live to be old and stuff? Is the place, like, we live in New Orleans now? Is this place gonna be habitable in I don't know how many decades? How much longer does it have? And this sense of despair of like, somebody should fucking do something, led to the idea of, what if we wrote a comic book about supervillains? But I mean, you know, they're sort of the heroes of the story, but if they were in a Marvel movie, they would be the villains because they are on a mission to kill enough oil executives to stop the climate crisis before the planet dies. That is that's you watch the Black Panther movie, and Killmonger just started making a lot of really great points about colonialism before suddenly he had to now take it too far and be evil because he's the villain. So that's what we're doing. We are writing typical Marvel or DC villains, who the kind of villains who like, oh wow, they have really great points, and now we're just making them the protagonists of this story. Also, they're all queer as fuck because queer-coded villains is a thing that we've seen in history where the villains in comic books, in movies and everything, they're all given these very like effeminate, flamboyant traits a lot of the time to kind of nudge the audience as like, hey, this person's queer probably, and they're evil. So we're subverting that trope, taking the queer people, coding them as villains, and now saying that, well, these are the good guys in this story. Fuck you.
Okay. Wow. So one big trope we have here for our show is that we're both big foodies. So what's everybody's comfort food around here?
Oh man, comfort food. I love me. I love the hell out of feta cheese. That you probably way out of left field, but like I will just vacuum that up. Give me some like some grilled feta, some feta cheese on a toasted pita bread. Drench that in lemon juice, a little bit of dill, sumac. I'll put feta cheese on anything. It's great. I will every time I'm feeling bad, I'm like, give me some of that. Weird comfort food, I know, but that's what I got.
Okay, well, I mean, mine's more typical than that, I guess. So let me just preface this by saying I'm lactose intolerant, as well as this one is too.
There's no lactose in feta cheese, though.
I didn't say there was. However, I'm willing to suffer more than this one is, and that's proven by my comfort food. It's very basic. It's pizza, but there's a pizza shop locally to us. We live very close to the French Quarter, and in the French Quarter of New Orleans, there's a pizza place called Vous Carré Pizza, and they have a pizza that's called the Bourbon Special, and it has feta on it.
It does. See, I'm not weird.
No, but it's also chicken and spinach and basil, and it's not your average, like pepperoni pizza. I haven't found another pizza place like it's garbage. It's absolute garbage food. It's $5 for a slice of pizza, or $35 for an entire medium pizza, which is just outrageous because it's tourist pricing.
Golly.
Oh yeah, it's really bad. But with all that being said, I'll gladly pay $5 for a slice of pizza. Disclaimer: I work on Bourbon Street, so it's within walking distance of my job. So when I'm having like a bad day, I'll just go to the pizza place and buy multiple slices of pizza, and then suffer, not mentally, but physically, because it does have some amount of mozzarella on it. I think.
I'm gonna slightly change my answer to something a little more in that vein. You ever like the mall food court Chinese food places where they have the bourbon chicken? There is a place that it's not a mall food court actually. There's a place called Today's Cajun Seafood in downtown New Orleans, where they do serve Cajun seafood, but they also basically have mall food court Chinese food. And that's I will go there. I will get the bourbon chicken and the shrimp fried rice. They know me by now. I walk in, they're like, that's what you want? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. And I'm there like
twice a week.
3 times a week.
Golly. Nah, there's nothing wrong with that. I'd say my go-to, honestly, lately, it's funny we mentioned pizza. So where I'm coaching right now is an Irish pub, literally called The Pub. It literally has you can get a big old pizza for like $15, and it's just like meat lover, cheese, pepperoni, like the whole shebang. And I will go in there and destroy like a whole meat lover. It's really good when it's fresh out the pan, because like everything just folds perfectly like a burrito, and you just devour it.
I do love meat lovers pizza. Like I will. That is one thing. If you put the mozzarella on it, I will suffer through that.
Well, I mean, what you said about like fresh out the oven, right off a hot pan. That's the one benefit of my crappy little like comfort food pizza place, because it's in a really high volume area of Bourbon Street. They can't make pizza fast enough to supply the demand most of the time. So if you order a slice of pizza, you might have to wait like 10 minutes. But at least it's not just been sitting in a case all day. It's like right out of the oven. And the bourbon, they don't ever make a full pizza of that, because it's not like, the typical pizza that people buy. They normally get the meat lovers. So you're guaranteed to get a fresh slice of that, because they make half of a cheese pizza and then half of a bourbon special pizza. So you only get 4 slices at a time, unless you pay the $35. Then you can get an entire one. And I'm a musician. I don't make that kind of money. So
I feel that. But speaking of food, what is everybody's comfort drink as well?
Comfort drink. Well, let's see. We are indeed from New Orleans, so trying to think like what my comfort cocktail is. Actually, classic daiquiri. New Orleans is famous for the frozen daiquiri shops where they have like the convenience store slushy machines of booze, and you get your fruity flavored ice with rum in it. I like me just your simple lime juice, simple syrup, rum, and I will get a nice one of those from a classy cocktail bar. I will go to the crappiest just $3 well bar and say make me just a regular daiquiri, and half the time they're like, what do you mean? And I explained to them how a daiquiri is made. And they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's just simple lime and rum. Okay, I can do that. And it's great. It makes me happy.
God, see, as I've gotten older, I'm the same way. Really, my wife got me addicted to them, so I'm just like, yeah, I'll take a strawberry daiquiri frozen, but I haven't had the slushy one yet. That's on the bucket list.
Yeah, I mean, come down to New Orleans. You can just you can go.
You can buy it. You can buy a gallon of it and walk down Bourbon Street and not be a crazy person for walking down the street with a gallon of liquor. It's fine. It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
I mean, the place is called Fat Tuesday, so.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Gosh, it's funny. So
on Mardi Gras Day, where like it is the Tuesday when we're all out and partying and everything shuts down so everyone can party. And there's a saying that's like, everywhere else it's just Tuesday, with the implication of like here in New Orleans, Mardi Gras. Except then when you're on Bourbon Street though, every Tuesday.
It can be 9 a.m. on a Monday, and the majority of the street's drunk, so it doesn't matter. All reason is gone. It's just if you're on Bourbon Street, your sole purpose is to just not worry about looking like an idiot, and consequently looking like an idiot. So I should know. I work there. I don't drink that much, considering that a long time ago I used to drink very heavily. Now I'm kind of on a I'll go out and get a drink every once in a while. Working on Bourbon Street, working at a bar, playing at a bar multiple times a week has kind of ruined the just going out and getting a drink for no reason thing. But if I'm going to drink, it's going to be a Moscow Mule. But that's not really like necessarily a comfort drink. Like, I like a Moscow Mule, but good chai tea, I know that that's weird, I guess, but that's my go-to like comfort drink. I have like 3 gallons of it in the fridge right now. Bad day, bad meeting, bad whatever, I will drink enough chai to, I have ADHD, so caffeine doesn't really affect me the way it affects most people, but I would assume that the amount of caffeine I would intake from chai would kill some people.
You would just stabilize.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
It's like if Kyle was here. Kyle is a big chai drinker. There was one time he's just like, he has boxes of them. I'm like, how can you drink that stuff? He's like, it's so good.
But
And he's like,
there's levels of chai, right? Like, so like you can get your stereotypical like box chai, and there's nothing wrong with that. I used to drink a lot of like Oregon Trail brand chai. It comes in a box that you can get it at like Walmart or Winn-Dixie or Rouse's or whatever. Whatever local supermarket you have, we have Rouse's. But then I've Whole Foods is now on my radar, and they have a brand called Sherpa, which
Ooh.
it sounds fancy, so it's probably not. It's probably made in some local factory in like Utah or something. I don't know. But
In Utah.
they have a spicy version, which just, to my knowledge, just has a bunch of black pepper in it. But then that's the way to go. It is spicy, that's for sure. So that's like, you're not drinking a bunch of that in a day, but the way to do it, if you buy one of the regular ones, one of the spicy ones, and you mix it half and half, there you go. That's that pro tip. If you buy Sherpa chai, buy one of each, and then just, do the half and half, like sweet and unsweet tea, which, here you're gonna, if you drink sweet tea, you'll be diabetic by the time you're 30.
Yeah. Same for down here. I remember I was it's funny, when we went up to Alaska for our cruise, and even up there in Seattle, even in the Midwest, I was coaching the Midwest at some point. I asked for sweet tea, and they looked at me. They're like, "I can give you unsweet with a pack of sugar." And I said, "That works for me." But boy,
it
it was
better be a
brutal.
lot of. It takes a lot of packs of sugar to get it to the point.
3 packs of sugar.
Well, no, it depends on how big the glass is. Like if you get a 12-ounce glass of tea,
3 packs of sugar.
no. If you get a 12-ounce glass of tea at a restaurant here and you get it unsweet, you need like half a cup of sugar to get it to the level of sweet tea that the restaurants here serve. Growing up, there was this one. I grew up in a completely different place than where I live now. And by completely different, I mean an hour and a half away. But completely different culture. And there's a lot of Italian people out there, which you wouldn't think that like pure-blooded Italian people would be huge, fans of sweet tea. However,
they live here.
That is their tea recipe. To make a gallon of tea took a pound of sugar. I have that's the entirety of this. I have nothing else to say about that. It's just I have never drank pancake syrup before, but I think that's about as close as I'll ever get to that.
As close as you ever get to. God, that's like the McDonald's sweet tea. McDonald's has the sweetest sweet tea on the planet, and I'm convinced that it's a good pound or two just in that one little container.
Oh, it is. I worked at McDonald's for 2 whole days as a young adult. And by young, I was like 16 at the time. Not old enough to be behind the grill, but they put me there anyway, and that's when I quit.
Hold up, were you actually 16 or?
I was legally.
Okay, so sorry. Do you want to go on this tangent?
Not really.
Okay.
My birthday's all screwed up because legal system here is garbage, and adoption.
Long story short, adoption laws in Louisiana are stupid. Anyway.
Yes. They're like canister of tea that if you go into like the inside of the McDonald's, if your McDonald's has an inside that opens, ours doesn't. That
depends.
Yeah, our McDonald's just gave up on opening the inside part. It's drive-through only, and it's open like 6 hours a day. Good luck if you're hungry at like 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they use it's not a like weight measurement, but it's a bucket of sugar, and I don't know, like if you buy if you have Domino sugar, pretty much everywhere in the country, the bigger yellow like plastic tub of it, basically one of those per canister of tea. It's really disgusting. Plus the tea is normally made like a day before it's used, so like. Now that just might be my McDonald's that I worked at. It was like not a super high traffic area, so they like prepped. I guess they prepped everything, and I can understand that. But also, it's McDonald's, it's fast food, and it takes like 10 minutes to make a batch of tea. So
I don't know. I don't know about nowadays. It's golly. I got McDonald's stories for days just traveling. In fact, our McDonald's here, because I DoorDash on the side too every once in a while. It takes them. They get wrapped around the building quick, and it doesn't take them 10 minutes to make a burger.
No, I mean our McDonald's is. So we've got 2. within. We've got 2 within door dashing distance. The condition of living in New Orleans is one of, if it's more than like a 10-minute drive away, it doesn't exist. And because we also don't really have public transport that works. So like you need a car to get around this major city, which is surreal. But also if it's more than 10 minutes away, it doesn't exist because 10 minutes turns into an hour and a half really fast. Because also every red light's broken. The street has a hole the size of your house in it, and somebody might rob you. So, granted, I live here, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't come here or that you should be afraid of that. But like, if you live here, it's a little bit different than if you come visit because you're here for like years and you've experienced more. If you come visit, it's not gonna like you're not gonna like get instantly traumatized probably. But like no, both McDonald's, if you DoorDash, take about an hour and a half to get to you, and your DoorDash driver is the most upset and angry person because I know what DoorDash drivers make. I tried DoorDashing in the city, so you might make $6 on an order of chicken nuggets and a Sprite, but you just spent an hour trying to get it. That's way less than minimum wage.
Oh yeah, no, I picked it up a couple months ago just for a hobby because I was curious. And when I first started doing it, I had a big order, which is rare to get a big order. It was a Pizza Hut order. And this lady's like, yeah, I'm behind the yellow house. There's 3 of them. I'm behind the yellow house. Oh my God, dude. And we were out in the middle of the boonies, so she had poor cell reception. She's like, I'm behind the yellow house, brick house. And I'm like, dude, I'm never going to get that $20. Yeah. I just really want the $20.
I mean, I have a ludicrous amount of DoorDash. I only DoorDash for like 3 weeks. And it's not lucrative in New Orleans unless you have like a hybrid, and like we have a hybrid. I don't like driving it. I like driving my loud and obnoxious German car. Therefore it's not lucrative for me because my car doesn't get good fuel economy. And also New Orleans is stingy. So you'll get like a $3 tip. But the one time I decided I was going to actually go do it, I got an order to go to a pizza place, those are always the best ones. 17 pizzas. Of course, the app doesn't tell you what you're picking up. It just says pizza.
Yeah, so that drives me crazy too.
I get into the place and the lady hands me like a stack of pizzas, and I'm like, okay, thank you. She's like, oh no, I got more. I'm like, there's 7 pizzas here. It's like, oh yeah, there's more. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go put this in the car because I don't think I can carry anymore. Hold on, I'll be right back. Come back. She's like, here's 5 more. I got 5 more. I'm like, okay. And I have to drive 30 minutes to go bring this thing. And like originally when I took the order, it was like, I'm going to make $15 off of this. And it's, it's like 10 miles of driving. It's to the next small little city over. Okay, it's whatever.
Yeah, easy $10.
Well, I did the math on how much 17 pizzas cost, and they spent like $230 or $240 on pizza, and you tipped me $10 to. It was also like 1:30 in the morning, and the pizza place was about to close. So it pissed the pizza place off, which consequently pissed me off because I'm dealing with an angry pizza place that's mad that I don't have hot bags like pizza. I'm not a pizza delivery guy. I don't have the gear to deliver pizza for you, let alone 17 of them. So I handed the guy a couple pizzas and I just left. I didn't give him his food. And I got negatively affected on DoorDash for that, so I don't do that anymore. I did, however, have some pizza, so that's cool.
Oh God! I mean,
they ordered weird pizza. They ordered like.
Did they order a none pizza left beef?
No, but they ordered like cheese pizza with spinach on it. But like not like the like fresh like mozzarella, tomato, spinach pizza or basil pizza. It just cheese pizza with spinach on it. And there was like 3 of those, and I'm sure the pizzas I handed him on the first trip were the like good ones. The rest of them were just weird and crappy. But also like it was a small little house, so I'm kind of confused where 17 pizzas we're gonna go to. Not judging, You want 17 pizzas, order 17 pizzas. However, tip the person that's bringing your 17 pizzas more, at least $1 a pizza. I mean, you go to a bar and you tip $1 a beer. You should tip $1 a pizza, especially if I gotta drive them to you.
No, trust me. I've had some. I've only ever since I've DoorDash, I've had really two bad experience. But the worst one, but the second one was somebody was staying at a Motel 6. And it was literally, they could have physically got out from their hotel room, walk across the street and pick up this chicken. And they only took me like $2. I said, really? Really? And they didn't even tell me they're at the Motel 6. They were like, yeah, I'm at El Chazadores. Okay. Well, I'm like, how are you in a restaurant when you're ordering food? No, I'm at the Motel 6, actually. Come on.
Yeah.
That day, I just turned it off.
Going to a restaurant and you don't like the food, so you just DoorDash better food to the restaurant while you're still sitting at the table. I feel like I could be that petty.
Okay, but hold on. This is also a tour story, so this ties into I think what we're going to talk about in just a little bit. But it's a DoorDash tour story. While I was in a rural area on not a dog park tour, I also I'm a full-time musician and production person, so like I'll go run sound for other bands and stuff. While I was on tour in a very rural area, I decided I was going to log into the DoorDash app, the driver app, and just see what's going on. And there was peak pay. Of course there was peak pay because nobody was doing it. It was just me. I wanted to go get food, so I ordered food from DoorDash because I had a coupon for like 40% off the order. And then I picked up my own food. Well, I was already in the restaurant. I was sitting there like, it was a Chipotle. So I was sitting at the Chipotle like, I want food. I want the quesadilla, and you can't get the quesadilla if you don't order it on the app. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna order it on the app. And then I'm going to quickly log into the driver app, and considering that there's nobody around for miles, I'm sure I'm going to get the order. So I absolutely got the order, and I got paid $1 or $2 because I didn't tip myself. I didn't tip myself, so I didn't tip, so nobody would take the order. Because I knew if you don't tip, nobody in the right mind is going to take a no tip order. It's just going to keep getting passed around. I'll take it though because it's my order. So I took my no tip order. I earned the like $2 base pay to just exist and get my 40% off quesadilla. So if you ever find yourself in a super rural area on tour and you want to make $1 or $2, sign up for DoorDash driver. Never go drive for DoorDash, and then log in while you're sitting at a restaurant that has their food on DoorDash.
Oh man, that's going to translate to my next question. While you guys have been on tour and while you've been performing, has there been any restaurants that you guys just love when you go on tour, or anyone that while you're on tour you're like, hey, I actually love this place, check it out?
So,
Buc-ee's.
Damn it!
Look, I'm glad we mind melded though.
No, I was gonna try not to do Buc-ee's.
You were not gonna do Buc-ee's? Oh, come on, we gotta talk about Buc-ee's.
Every touring band goes to Buc-ee's. There's your Buc-ee's experience. If you're on tour, stop at Buc-ee's. It's worth the time. They have food 24/7, and it's better than your normal gas station food. There's your Buc-ee's.
Yes,
granted, we don't have a Buc-ee's locally, so of course, when we go out on the road, if there's a Buc-ee's on the way, we're going to stop at the Buc-ee's.
We see the Buc-ee's sign, we stop at Buc-ee's.
Yes, and
okay.
that has translated into every band and every tour I've personally been on, where like one of them I was driving the bus, and I randomly pulled into a Buc-ee's. You're not allowed to pull into a Buc-ee's with a bus, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't care.
How are we going to manage that?
I don't care. It says no 18-wheelers. Now, I got yelled at, but it's okay because I got my beaver nuggets and my very, very large soda. But no, the funny enough, one of the best like touring stops in my personal experience has been Chipotle. It's some of like the more fresher food. I mean, look, when you're on tour, you're going to eat like crap regardless, unless you have a huge tour budget. And most bands, especially bands that are our size, don't have a huge tour budget. We don't have like, corporate people funding us. We're doing this on our own. We're figuring out how to pay for the fuel in the bus, pay for the food, and make sure that people who don't have like work from home jobs make enough money to be able to like take a month off from work. So therefore, we're gonna stop at like a McDonald's or a Taco Bell or something of that nature, right? And that gets really old really fast. Chipotle, at least it's like most of the time you can get a healthier thing. Granted, they're not open super late, so the next best thing is not healthy at all, but it's Cookout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
For a touring band, especially on, and I don't know if you know what Cookout is. I don't know that I haven't.
We do.
Have we been to a Cookout?
We do.
Okay. So yeah, for $5 you can get enough food to eat for the rest of the night. For $10 you can get food for tomorrow. And if you're on a tour that has a per diem, for $20 you can get food and a shake and dessert and still have, I mean, you're not really, realistically, I don't know how you spend $20 at Cookout. So Chipotle,
because of the food. Yeah. Yeah, no, Cookout, dude. Cookout is like a liver breed fast food staple here in Georgia. It's funny, as this recording, me and my wife went there last night for a milkshake and cheese bites.
Yeah. So, I mean, and the cheese bites, they're cheddar, so I can eat them and not feel really, really bad the next day. I mean, I still don't feel, anytime I go to Cookout, especially on tour, I don't feel good the next day. I don't know if that's necessarily Cookout's fault. It just, tour, you're tired and you're already run down, and like any amount of unhealthy food takes its toll on you really quickly. But I can eat the cheese bites, and Sharewine is, why don't we have that everywhere else? Like that's I really like cherry flavored things. I'm very simple. Pib is really cool. It's supposed to be spicy cherry soda. It's not the same. It's just like it's more sweet Dr. Pepper. It is superior to Dr. Pepper in my mind, and I know that might be controversial. Sorry. We don't have Pib here, so I mean I do drink Dr. Pepper, but Sharewine just blows it all out of the water, and then you can get a Sharewine float. So I mean, that's one of the very few things that's worth like really feeling like crap the next day because you're lactose intolerant. You've just eaten ice cream. But it's got Sharewine in it, so it's worth it.
Now, just to close up the topic of tour food, I do feel like we have to discuss what happened when we went to Costco.
What happened at Costco?
Yeah, our last tour, our opening act, we were touring with Trent Rush is a musician who has a new project he was touring with called Dog Weekend. So it was a double dog tour, Dog Park Dog Weekend. We stopped at Costco, which great choice. They have bulk everything. Good to stock up on snacks for the tour van. Trent got a box of like 24 croissants. And so he just like in the Costco parking lot, like we took this iconic rock star photo of him just wearing like a Fender Guitars shirt, sunglasses, and just like holding an entire Costco box of croissants and just chowing down on these croissants in front of like this beautiful cherry blossom tree. It was wild. So yeah, now we for like almost the entire rest of this tour, we had just a box of croissants in this van, and everyone chowed down on croissants. The lactose tolerant people in the van chowed down on croissants. I just like stared longingly at them like I can't. It's gonna hurt me. If your body can process lactose, I highly recommend getting an entire Costco of croissants, like Costco being a unit of measurement. Get a Costco of croissants and just tour with them. Just stuff your face with croissants. It's fine. You're on tour. You get to be a gremlin. There's no social like norms. Just do it. It's fine.
Well, speaking of my next question, do you guys have any crazy live show or tour stories?
Let's see. Ooh,
You kind of transitioned to the next question. I was like, ooh, there we go.
I guess like our
That was a good story.
I feel like we have the shows that we've done that have gone well and gone great. I don't feel like we have crazy stories about them. We've just played banger shows. We have had we have had some bad experiences. Like so there is a one of my idols, a queer punk band called Pansy Division. They were like the OG of queer punk. They started in the '90s. They went on tour with Green Day for the Dookie tour, like that old. They were singing punk rock about being gay in 1994, like legendary. And they're part of the reason why I decided to start a queer punk band, because I listened to them when I was a teenager. I loved them, and as our band started to get more popular, I was like, it would be a dream to perform with them. So we found an opportunity. There is a Labor Day weekend festival in New Orleans called Southern Decadence. It's basically, it's kind of known as gay Mardi Gras. It's like second to Pride, basically. So we got in touch with a local leather bar that we went to often. We had actually previously filmed a music video in there, the music video for Host. We filmed that partially in that bar. So, you know, friends of this bar, we're like, hey, do y'all have a block party every year at Southern Decadence? What if we organized a show with us and this nationally known, very like famous queer punk band, Pansy Division, flew them into town, got like a whole lineup of queer musicians, and did like a queer music festival outside of the bar. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. This was in April of that year, and then by the time it got to September, they were kind of a nightmare to communicate with. It seemed like they had sort of forgotten that we were doing this. So getting a hold of them and actually coordinating logistics was a headache. And then finally, on the day of it, it turned out that they were not able to get a live music permit for the entirety of the time that the show was planned for. We found out that the permit was not long enough to go after the two opening acts and then our act and then Pansy Division as we were getting on stage to play. That is when the police informed us that we were not permitted to play. We could have been told this at any moment before then and could have changed things and salvaged things. And that's when anyone decided to communicate with us. So the cops then aggressively broke up this block party, started like shouting slurs at all of the gay people in the street and telling them to like move, get out in the street, like shoving people. It was like, I mean, in the moment, I felt a little vindicated. Like, yeah, here I am writing songs about how the cops and queer people don't mix, and now it's happening. I was right. But yeah, the bar basically, like, they completely threw us under the bus. They seemed to be like pushing the cops on us and trying to throw people out the street. I personally almost got arrested for loudly telling people that the show was over, and this the police interpreted this as a threat? I don't know. Cops. But yeah, so we still have a pending lawsuit against the bar over all that. This was 2022, and we're still waiting for it to move through the courts. But yeah, that was probably the craziest attempt at a show that we've ever played. Fortunately, earlier this year, this April, Pansy Division came back to New Orleans. We finally played that show with them. So happy ending there. I would still I'm still trying to get compensation for the money we spent all the way back in 2022 on all this. But yeah, basically, like, everything has been uphill since then. We have not had a show that bad since, because at least every show we've done, we have played.
Okay.
I mean, okay, well, like we don't want to just focus on all bad stuff all the time, because our life is better than that. Last tour we got a chance to play 924 Gilman, which little quick history rundown on 924. It's where Green Day got their start, or a lot of big punk bands got their start. And we played a almost sold out show at 924, which is pretty hard to do.
It was during Pride weekend, by the way, in the San Francisco Bay Area. So like our tickets sales were already kind of depressed because people were out doing other Pride things. So the amount of people we got in on Pride weekend, when there was so much else to do, like we were told that this was an impressive number.
Yeah, like just like sheer door sales for that particular show was like, we did more at the door sales than we did pre-sale. So of course, like going into it, we're like, oh, this is going to be a bad show. We're going to, we're not going to break even. The venue's going to be mad at us, because a lot of the things, like, the venue only makes money if you as a band sell tickets. So I've seen venues pull shows like days before the show's supposed to happen because of low ticket sales.
So
I mean, that actually,
buy tickets.
Yeah. If you want to go see a band, buy an advance ticket. You save some money, but also it helps the band actually be able to do the show. That wasn't the point I was trying to make, but good point. But yeah, no, that was one of the like most surreal and fun shows we'd played on that tour run. And that was the same Costco, tour run where we went to Costco and bought croissants and stuff. Like, that was a good tour run. We were on tour with, our friends and had good openers every night, and we had a blast. But being on the same stage that, Green Day and some other really, AFI, some other really influential punk bands got their start on. It's definitely one for the like, we don't have a scrapbook necessarily, but like the Google Photos scrapbook, probably not going to play another show quite like that ever. The band has grown slightly since then, so I'm not saying that we don't play stages that size anymore. That's still our target market.
I mean, Green Day went back to play Gilman.
Yeah, they did.
After they got unbanned from Gilman. Long story, won't get into that.
Yeah, no, you Google that. That's if you want to learn more about something. Oh, why am I getting a phone call from work? Oh no.
Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, my computer in the other room is ringing.
Oh, it's all good.
I love Apple.
Yeah, trust me. Google's the same way. So back to my next question, which we kind of talked about already. What is NPC, mythical, magical, and retail?
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna let you take the lead on that. I'm gonna go do that.
Sure. Yeah, I'll get. Here I am sitting at the big microphone. So yeah, NPCs, myth, magic, and retail. This is a comic that I started. I wrote with my friend Brent Langle, who I met him up in New York, and he's now based out of Kentucky. But yeah, we've been friends for a while. This is a project that we started on as a pitch for a web series,
to I think it was Geek and Sundry, Felicia Day's network. They were taking pitches like years and years ago. We wrote an entire the script for a web series, and that pitch they liked it, but they thought it would be too expensive, so we didn't get that. So later, we as Brent got into writing comics, he is pretty well known for writing a comic series called Snow White Zombie Apocalypse. He found success in that and was like, we should redo NPCs as a comic. So NPCs is it is about characters who work at the item shop in a role-playing game. It is a workplace comedy about that. The story is like you have this player character. Her name originally she was a player character. Her name is Gwendolyn, but then she gets demoted to an NPC after she used to be an adventurer like you, but then she takes an arrow to the knee, and then becomes an NPC who works in this item shop and is it's kind of about the it's about the bleakness of working in retail, but with fantasy and RPG tropes. So this first issue of it, we just had a successful Kickstarter for it. So this first issue is now in production. I don't think we have a release date for it, but it's hopefully I'm hoping by the end of this year or early next year. So yeah, that is one comic project that I've been involved in, which is it's very serendipitous for that to be happening at the same time as us releasing this concept album, which has a companion comic book to it, which I also wrote this comic book. So I guess I'm now a comics writer. Stumbled into that. Didn't expect that would be happening, but yeah, I've already sort of been trying to model my career as an artist after Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance. So he did the pop punk band to comic writer transition. So guess that's happening to me now. That's what we're doing.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. What made you guys think of that? What made you guys think, realtor in Fantasyland? What made you think of that? Or y'all were just meshing stuff together?
I think I think this was Brent's idea about I don't know how Brent came up with the idea of like workplace comedy at working at an RPG item shop, but that idea popped into his head, and we were just like, this is amazing. Let's run with this. So we had kind of like a writer's room meetup with him, a couple of his actor friends. He was working as a playwright in New York City at the time. So since we were planning to shoot this as a web series, we got a couple of actors who he'd cast in production before, and they helped us develop the story and the characters. And we just kind of riffed about it of like, what if Link from Zelda came in and just started smashing all the pots? What if we had the guy, I don't know, remember, isn't it annoying how when you play an RPG and then you sell all your items to the shop, but then you're like, oh, wait, I didn't mean to sell that one, and now you have to buy it back at a higher, much higher price, like that annoying kind of stuff. And just we could mine just video games for so much comedy. Like, I think that there's like three, even in this first issue, there's like 3 plot points related to parts of the environment being bugged, and so Gwendolyn can't get by them. There was so much we could do with this idea. So we did, and I'm really excited to see it come together. I hope that we can like get the whole series of it out, like multiple issues that would cover all the ground we were going to cover in the original web series. And yeah, I hope that I hope that the success we've been having as a band feeds into that, and they sort of fuel each other.
Do you guys have any social media out for it already? Anywhere that fans can follow it?
Yeah. So we are on we're on Instagram. We are on the website formerly known as Twitter that I refuse to say the new name. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Tumblr. We're big on. We have our Tumblr community super active. Yeah, we've got we're on those are our 4 main socials. You just search for Dog Park Dissidents. It is spelled Dissidents, like political dissidents. That's what you search for. It's the full name on most of the platforms, and then on the Twitter, I'm still gonna call it that. It's abbreviated Dog Park DNTS. We're there. If you want to listen to our music, dogparkdissidents.com. We're on Bandcamp. If you go on Spotify and just type in Dog Park, I think we're the first result there. And you can stream us on Spotify. The new album is right now, it's like, by the time this podcast goes out, I think the almost all of it will be out on streaming, but we're kind of releasing it track by track because it's a concept album. We have to teach people to listen to albums in order again. On our website, on dogparkdissidents.com, you can read the comic pages that correspond to each track, so that you can read the story of the album as you're listening to it. And then if you buy the version on Bandcamp, that comes with a download of the comic, and we're hopefully soon going to take pre-orders for the vinyl record edition, which is going to have the physical comic book as the liner notes for the vinyl, or it's record comic book combination, super cool. Unfortunately, like Spotify, Apple Music, all that doesn't allow us to like embed a comic book in it, so you have to know that there's a comic book to go look up. But please, like the music we worked so hard on it, and it's essential, but like reading the comic book behind it adds so much of it. The music, it's kind of like the soundtrack to a movie to the comic book. It's not literally like a Broadway musical that tells the story of the comic, but it is a complete companion work of art that I think all y'all are going to really enjoy seeing it all in context.
Okay. Well, here's my last question, guys, before we close out. Which song means the most to you guys as a band? What song that you guys have recorded and written, you're like, oh, this is my favorite song. It means the most to me.
I think since me and Zeke are here, Zeke found the band through the song Good Boy, which is it is a song about when you and your boyfriend are both pretending to be dogs, and you just make your boyfriend feel better by giving him pets on the head. So we're dating now. We're like Fleetwood Mac, but not toxic.
That's my joke.
I come on.
I've said that live.
You've said
at every show we played.
I've told people that too. But yeah, you found that song before you even met me.
That is true.
Right. And so I think I feel like that's just to like us personally right here, because of that, that's a special song, because I wrote that and didn't expect that it would find me somebody who I would both actually be kind of singing it to from the heart and then playing drums to it behind me as I performed it. So it's a cute little love story there.
Okay. I know my favorite one was Rainbow Droid Pilot, and I was just like, I'm here for it. I just for me, when we were doing research on you guys, we just love you can hear, the Louisiana fused with the emo punk and the Bronx style to it. You can just hear it all mixing together, and we just love that sound.
Thank you. Yeah, I love performing Rainbow Drones every time. It's with recent events in the world, that song has become a lot more and more poignant, and I get like way more righteously angry every time I get up to sing that. It's yeah. The idea of justice for queer people being used as an excuse to bomb and murder disgusts me. So having a song about that, like, which, you know, a song that everyone finds really catchy and you can sing along to, and also it lets me let out the catharsis of rage that I feel about all of that.
It is catchy. It is extremely catchy.
Thank you.
What is that? Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up all my questions. As always, thank you guys for joining in. And of course, you can follow us on our social medias on Instagram at Rando Boys, on Twitter at Rando Incorporate One, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Random Incorporated, where you can see the video version of this interview and other guests we've had as well. And as always, you can listen to my podcast, the More Sports Podcast, where it's not your typical sports podcast. And then we have our movie podcast, Popcorn Buckets, where it's a new movie every Sunday. Guys, you have any last words you'd like to say?
So with that new album comes an album release tour. We'll be traveling around the country, including Canada, so it's technically an international tour, starting October 5th. So if you're interested in seeing us play live, and we just so happen to be in a city near you, come see us. We'd love to show you what we're about and what our new album sounds like live. We've never played it live before, so you'll get to experience it with us too. DogParkDissidents.com has all the information for.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up for today. Until next time, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.